is Mapule Mulabi. I'm the founder of Grow in Maths. Grow in Maths is just a new company where we offer maths lessons for any grade, any high school learners. So, and with me, we organized the whole Career Expo with my partners from Education Support SA. They also provide any educational support to any learners, whether in university or in high school. My team, I've got Rabelani Mutau, who will be assisting me with everything here. And also with the technical support, I've got Taini Munyai, which will also be assisting also. So this Career Expo is for grade 8 to grade 12 learners. It's done here online on Zoom, and we are also actually streaming it live on Facebook. And if you are here, you've already managed to log in. These are the login details. So if you're already online, you've already done that. Can everyone mute themselves, please? Okay, so we've got 10 career items that we're going to be covering today. We might have one or two that are left out. Unfortunately, some of the people could not make it on today. So, but what you see on the screen is just the guidelines that their presentation will be based on. Some might be different because we've got companies that are just giving us what they offer. While on other items, we've got individuals that are covering a certain career path. So the guidelines might, when they present, it might be different. Okay, so our program for today, this is how it looks. We have the opening and welcome. And then we've got the different career presentations. The career presentations will be careers, and the first one will be careers and the 17 sustainable development goals. And then the next one will be engineering. And then we'll have culinary, we'll have financial planning, we'll have media, and then we'll have someone from the company called Air Traffic and Navigation Systems, which is called ATNS. And then we'll have someone from South African Air Force, and then we'll have IT and computer system. And then lastly, we'll have a representative from the University of Johannesburg. So those are the presentations that we're gonna have. Then after those, then we'll have a question and answer session, and then we'll close our program. Our program is planned for 4 hours. So it's from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. So if it happens we finish earlier, that's okay. But yeah, we planned it for the whole 4 hours so that we don't rush anyone. So the presenters are given, let me just move this. The presenters are given about 20 minutes for each presentation. Okay, so I will hand over now. I will hand over to Rabelani to introduce our guests that we have before we go to we start with our program. Rabelani?
Thank you, Mapula. My name is Rabelani Mudau, and I represent Expo SA. So as my colleague has stated, we are going to have this Career Expo, and then we'll have presentations from the different people. So our first presenter will be for the Sustainable Development Goals. So help me welcome Ejioma N. Obiajunwa Ajamia. I hope I'm pronouncing the names correctly. Yeah, and then they'll give their presentations. Over to you guys. Do we have them on? Are they here?
Ajama, do we have it? Are you online?
No.
Okay.
Let me check.
Okay, while they're checking, I think then we'll try to go to the next person.
The next presenter, right?
Yeah. The next, yeah.
Okay, coming up is the segment for engineering. So can you please welcome Mr. Jabulani Mkhathi?
Mr. Jabulani has just sent me a message. He's still rebooting his laptop, so he will come after the next one. Let's see who's next.
Okay. Next one is for culinary. Hunadi Oteho Nkari. Can you please present if you are here? Mr. or Mrs. Hunadi Oteho Nkari.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
Hold on. Sorry.
Caro,
Yes.
you can take over.
Yes, I'm sharing the video. Can you see it?
We won't be able, no, you won't be able to share.
Oh, okay.
Can you present from the presentation that you sent us?
What do you mean?
Can you see that? Can you see our screen?
Yes, I can.
You seeing your presentation there?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can just talk through, then I'll just page through when you need to go to the next page.
Okay. Morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Garing, and I'm a culinary student at Capsicum Culinary Studio, sorry. Okay, next, please. Page.
Should I pass your educational pathway?
Yes. So I went to high school at Covenant College, which is in Johannesburg South. The subjects I took were English, Afrikaans, life orientation, Bible education, mathematics, history, geography, and computer applications and technology, which is CAT. And I'm currently at Capsicum Culinary Studio doing my third year in advanced culinary arts. I chose this career because I did not meet the requirements that were needed for IT at a university. And then also, this was my second choice because I love baking. I love making bread because it fascinates me. And I love cooking. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you. The highlights of my career were working for Chef Ruben Riffel at his restaurant Ruben's in Sandton. He's a celebrity chef, and also working with fondant in my second year, which is the first time working with fondant. Next, please.
What is fondant? Just to interrupt you.
Fondant is like a sugar paste that is used to decorate on cakes.
Your internet connection is unstable.
Sorry?
And those that are unmuted, please mute. Or let me mute everyone. Tutlao, please unmute because I was trying to mute everyone. Ne?
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please continue.
And the challenges I faced at my job were working long hours because you really work like some serious long hours during the day, like 18 hours a day you at work. And working during holidays, like you're forced to work during holidays because it's the busiest times ever. And then also having to remember orders at all times. Please, next slide. And then the ways in which I overcame them was basically having fun at work and having a great head chef who was always helpful, like in the first top 3 on your right, the 3 pictures on the top, the last one on your right. The one day we're having a busy service and he was writing down on the table so that we knew what to plate and when to plate it and which table it was going to. Okay, next slide, please. There are no specific subjects required for this course. Qualification depends on the institution. So they'll ask, some institution can ask you to have your grade 10, some can ask you to have a matric certificate, but just like a national senior certificate, you don't have to have a diploma, you don't have to have a degree, bachelor degree pass. And then you need to be 18 years or older, and you need to have a passion for food, hardworking, and attention to detail. But sometimes some people come into the industry without a passion for food. So you just like develop it on your way during school. And then the institutions that offer this career are, but not limited to, the Swiss Hotel School, Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School, International Hotel School, the Institute of Culinary Arts, University of Johannesburg, Limpopo Chefs Academy, the Private Hotel School, Capsicum Culinary Studio, and HTA. Next slide, please. And then the career paths that are available in this faculty is that you can become an executive chef, a head chef, a pastry chef, a boulanger, which is a person that bakes, but like most of the time bakes bread, a food critic, a food stylist, a food photographer, a menu/meal planner, a sommelier, who is someone that deals with wine in like a restaurant, a connoisseur, which is someone who is like someone that knows, has great knowledge about like wines and the alcohol that happens in the restaurant, a concierge, which is somebody that manages the restaurant, a restaurator, which is a person that owns and manages a restaurant. You can become a private chef and a chocolatier and like much more. You can become a lot in this faculty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Now it's time for, okay. You can ask questions later in the meeting. So now it's time for financial advisory and financial planning. Please help me welcome Chilidzi Mabungu. Chilidzi Mabungu, you can start if you're here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chilidzi Mabungu. I don't know if you can see me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, my name is Chilidzi Mabungu. I'm a financial planner and also what we call a financial advisor. I'm also an accountant and a banker and a small business executive. So maybe you can go to the next screen so that I can maybe start with the next item. So to start with, I would like maybe to give you this quote. Financial planning is like a navigation. If you know where you want to go, navigation isn't such a great problem. It's when you don't know the 2 points that it's difficult. So that is written by Venitia. She is a writer, financial planner, and founder of Venetia's and Company Inc. So she's one of the gurus of financial planning in the United States of America, who was very successful in the 60s. And then actually that is exactly what financial planning is all about. It's sort of a navigation of financial life of a person. Can you go to the next screen, please? So my education path. I started my education at a primary school in a village called Buteri village in Limpopo, Rukwarani Primary School, and then went to a secondary school in the next, the village next door in Dumazi village. The school was Chirara Secondary School. I then went to the University of Venda, where I did my accounting degree, but could not finish it because of financial issues, and started working before finishing my third year. But I didn't give up on school. I enrolled with UNISA, but with UNISA also I was doing exactly the same qualification with some accreditation from the previous university. Even that did not go well for me because there was a lot of work and I did not have much time to concentrate on my studies because of the type of work that I do needs a lot of attention. And then I ended up going to Damelin College. That's where I graduated with my accounting qualification and also have a bookkeeping certificate from the same college. I also did my banking qualification at Mill Park College and went to also do right brain writing certificate with Umsitsi Press, which is a very important thing when you are in an industry that I'm in. I did my financial planning under Sanlam when I was working there. And I'm registered with the Financial Services Board and also with the Institute of Certified Bookkeepers and Accountants. You can go to the next slide. Why did I choose the career that I chose? When I was young, I think I was doing my grade 3. My father lost his job and he was the only one providing in the family. My mom, who was a housewife, had to start selling fruits and other things at school so that we can survive. My grandmother was a pensioner, was at least getting a government grant that was sustaining us a bit. I had to do a lot of farming as a young boy with my baby brother and my parents. And then I told myself that when I grow up, I want to learn about money and help people, especially kids, not to go through what I went through. So that is why I had to choose this career. You can go to the next slide. The highlights of my career. I started my career working in different small businesses in Thohoyandou area, including business companies like accounting, small business that are doing accounting, programming, and all that. But during that time, I was still a student, and through the work that I was doing, I realized that, you know what, you can be a leader even at school, where I worked with Minister Ronald Lamola under the student parliament at the University of Venda. So that's one highlight that, you know what, I'm very proud of, to work with leaders that are in ministries today. Then from there, I joined Absa Bank while I was still a student and worked as a service clerk and also a teller. This is where you help people withdraw money and you also help them solve problems that they are experiencing with their accounts. I then, when I was still there, I was a member of the Right Brain Writing Club at the university, where we joined what we call Umsitsi Press, where we were trained to write using our right brain, which is your creative brain. Then that was featured on SABC2 as a writer. So my writing skills comes handy because in this field, sometimes you have to write books to motivate others. You have to write books to channel people with what we call financial literacy. So that's why I had to go through that. 3 years later, I became a sales consultant, giving people advice about their money. That's where my financial planning career starts, where I'm starting to give advice to people. I moved from there to Mukopane, and then Gauteng, still doing the same job. And then when I was in Gauteng, I started doing different roles in banking. So places and roles from personal banking to business banking, that's what I was doing. I was doing personal banking to business banking, giving advice to managers, professionals, and giving advice to businesses when it comes to finance. During this time, I managed to start with other colleagues, Teach a Child to Save campaign, which we started at the Olivenholt Bosch near Centurion, where we went to schools, each school, and help parents open investment accounts for their children where they can invest R100 per month until their child gets to grade 12. So even today, I think some of these kids have managed to use that money to go to tertiary. So that's what we did when we were in Gauteng. I then left banking when I was a business banker and joined a company called PPS, Professional Provident Society, where I was working as a financial planner. We worked with postgraduates, doctors, your engineers, and others who have graduated and did a postgraduate qualification, which means it's 4 years and above. So we were doing insurance policies for those people, advising them about their finances. I then joined Sanlam, where I was also a financial planner there, dealing with everyone. And then after that, I left and started Boronga Holdings, which is my own company. During my time at, when I started Boronga Holdings, I also became a contributor to Parapara FM SABC Radio as a on financial planning program that we had there. During the once a month, I used to communicate with people through Parapara FM. I then also joined Mandaatu Property Investments, where I was advising property owners, and then they decided to make me join that company. So that is exactly what the career was about. I'm now a CEO of Ronga Holdings, and that's exactly what happened. So we can go to the next screen.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sina, your phone is sharing a screen.
It's okay. It's okay. That's still my screen. It's fine.
Oh,
Challenges I faced at my job and how I overcame them. Most people don't have financial literacy, which is the knowledge of understanding finance. A lot of students today are having the same challenge, where you don't understand what a credit card is, what a loan is, what is an insurance policy, how to claim, and all those kind of things. Something that was supposed to be taught from a primary school level. So people don't have that. And when you sit with them, you start by teaching them the basics. So that's one challenge that we have in the space. Some people like to cut corners. I had to train people to have patience and being honest to themselves. So some people will always want, you know what, it's your first month, you want a house and a car and everything at once, and you end up in trouble. Sometimes you don't want to follow procedure, you want to just come up with ways to get access to maybe funds or insurance. So those are the kind of things that we deal with, but we have to teach people to be patient and be honest with themselves. People change their minds and cancel the insurance or investments. That affects my commission. I had to budget in advance. So when some people, you have given them advice, you have done all the work, they join, then when they start going on with their lives, they decide, you know what, I'm canceling everything. So it affects my income. That's where you have to be able to budget properly. You don't have a boss, you are your own boss. If you don't work, you don't get paid. So you have to be able to be disciplined and invest. You have to stay up to date with financial news and laws. You need to read a lot. So when people ask you questions, you should be able to answer when it comes to money. And that is one challenge that a lot of people have. We don't like reading. So a financial planner must be able to read a lot. Such which subjects and grades are required to study in this field? There are no specific subjects and grades, but you need to pass your grade 12 with marks that allow you to go to college. Commercial subjects are an advantage. Mathematics and languages are very important, as there is a lot of calculations and communication. So that is what the subjects that you may need. The next slide, please. Which institutions offer this career? I did this with Mill Park College. Tamelin was also offering this, but they stopped. But Mill Park College is the college that is still offering that. There's Moonstone Business School. That's where you also do your regulatory exams because you have to be regulated. And COSA is also offering this. If you're working for Sanlam, Sanlam has a few other insurance companies have this in-house, so you can learn, you can do a qualification in-house. Most universities, including the University of Free State, Stellenbosch University, also offer financial planning as a qualification. Other career paths available in this field, you can be a paraplanner. A paraplanner is somebody who works under a financial planner to prepare presentations like this, to prepare legal documents that need to be given to the client, and financial documents and financial planning documents. Financial broker is somebody who owns a brokerage. We will give an example of PIB in Limpopo, AFBOB here in Gauteng. You can have insurance policy like that. There are financial brokers who work for those institutions. Stockbroker is those who work with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, helping people with shares and all those kind of things and investing. Banker, those people that you see at the bank. You can be a manager in the financial institutions. You can be in executive management in different companies, and also in banking and insurance. Insurance company owner, you can also open your own insurance company if you want, and that's where that's the field that you must go through to be able to own an insurance company. You can also be a bank owner, and there are other proper things that you can be able to be besides that. Thank you. I think, yeah, that was the last slide. I would really like to thank you guys. Oh, yes, yeah, that's the last slide. I would really like to thank everyone for the opportunity, and I really appreciate what we're doing here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Again, if you have any questions, please wait for the Q&A session at the end. Right now, please help me welcome Jabulani Mkatra, who will be speaking for engineering. Jabulani Mkatra, you can take over.
Just a moment. Okay.
Okay, good morning.
Jabulani, you can take over if you're here.
Yeah, he's here.
I am connected.
Okay, then he will.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. No, good morning to everyone.
Can you please increase your volume a bit?
Okay, let me try again. Is it better?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Jabulani Mkatra. By profession, I'm a mechanical engineer. And currently, my occupation is an engineering manager at a utility company. You can go to the next slide. So basically, the overview of my presentation will cover my educational pathway, and then also I'll provide you the reasons why I chose engineering. I'll also share with you, different disciplines in engineering, as well as the requirements needed for you to study engineering. I also included some of the institutions that do offer engineering qualifications, and also highlight share some of the highlights that are of my career. And then lastly, I'll share the challenges, and then, like you said, the questions will come later, where if there's any questions related to engineering, I'll answer those ones. Okay, so I completed matric in 2001. So I obtained my national certificate there. And there was a gap between 2001 and 2005 because of financial challenges. So I couldn't obtain any financial funding to progress with my studies. So in 2005, luckily I got an internship where I went to a Dinelli Youth Foundation training program, where we're basically upgrading our maths and science, and also did other subjects during that period. After that, the following year, then I started studying mechanical engineering at the University of Johannesburg between 2009 and 2006, I mean, to 2009. Currently, I'm busy with my master's degree, also at the University of Johannesburg. Can go to the next slide. So these are some of the reasons why I chose engineering. So I developed an interest after we had a visit from one of our former students at my high school that I went to. And also because my cousin, used to work at Mercedes-Benz. So I really enjoyed seeing those nice cars that he was driving. So I was inspired by that and wanted to work for such companies. And the love of science and mathematics, that's what really attracted me to engineering. And I like problem solving as well. So if you are a problem solver, this is an area that you can go into. And also I wanted to inspire, the young people from my community, and also make a difference in society, wherever I can by doing the work that I'm doing currently. And also want to build my own empire. So this is still a dream, which I'm pursuing, and I hope to achieve it before I actually retire. And obviously, when you're working, you want to make money, and so you can look after your family. So that's in a nutshell why I chose engineering. You can go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so basically these are the core engineering disciplines that you can study or venture into. One is basically focus mostly on the buildings, dams, bridges, and roads. So if you see these beautiful structures that are out there, they're actually designed by civil engineers. Chemical engineers, yeah, they produce chemicals, chemical products like your fuel, your lotion that you're using, your Vaseline and the likes. They actually produced by chemical engineers. So if you're interested in that, that's something that you can also pursue. Electrical engineers, there's different ones. There's heavy current and there's low current. Heavy current focuses mostly on high voltage equipment like your motors, your power lines, your transformers. So you probably see in your location, your village, there's power lines, and then there's transformers as well. So on the light currents is basically mostly electronics. They also do programming. So if you're interested in programming, it's something that you can venture into as well. So that's what electrical engineers do. So electronic engineers, I'll call them that. Industrial engineers, they focus mostly on systems and processes to make industries function and operate optimally. So that's what they do. They don't really produce product, but they look at the people, they look at the systems that the companies are using. So my field in the mechanical side, basically, when you see a car engine, that's what we do as mechanical engineers. Aeroplanes, pumps, fans or turbines. So that's what we really, any moving equipment, mostly we deal with that, and any metals that also, that's what mechanical engineers do. Okay, then the requirements to study engineering. So on college diplomas, I've just focused on N3 to N6. You basically need a pass in mathematics, physical science, and English. So when you go to a University of Technology, you can do a diploma there, and further you can do your BTech at such an institution. So for you to enter into those tertiary institutions, you basically need a minimum of 50% in mathematics, physical science, and English. And at the University of Technology, you study for 2 years, and then the third year, you actually do in-service training at the company. So after completing the in-service training, then that's when you get your diploma. Your BTech takes you about 2 years to complete. So if you want to study further, then you do your BTech, and you can also further do your MTech at the University of Technology. Okay, if you go for a degree, like I did, you need a minimum of 60% for math, science, and English, and the overall score of 32. And it's a 4-year degree. So if you're interested in that, it's something that you can pursue. Next slide. Okay, so basically these are the institutions that you can look at. So for university degrees, there's Wits University, University of Cape Town, Northwest University, UP, UJ, University of Limpopo, and University of UKZN. So those are the universities where if you want to study a degree, you can look at diplomas. There's Tshwane University of Technology. There's University of Johannesburg as well. So you see University of Johannesburg is repeating because they offer both degrees as well as diplomas and BTECs. But they're actually at different campuses. So there's an Auckland Park campus that myself and Mapula went to. And then there's a Doornfontein campus where that's where you can actually study your diploma and your BTEC. Okay, so yeah, and then there's a VUT, Vaal University of Technology, DUT, Durban University of Technology. If you can go back, please. And Central University of Technology as well. So diplomas, there's quite a lot of the college diplomas. I mean, there's quite a number of colleges that you can go to. Some of them are just listed there. Every province actually has a college that you can actually go to. So these TVET colleges you can find them on the website. If you can Google, TVET colleges, you'll find a long list of these. But if there's any interest in going to colleges, we can also share such information maybe towards the end if someone who is interested in pursuing that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the highlights of my career in a nutshell. So yeah, for me, a highlight is when I actually got an opportunity to study further. So I will highlight that, and also, coming from a really poor background with poor marks in that year, I improved a lot technically and with my physical science as well. So that was a big highlight for me. So in 2009, that's when I graduated, and I see that as a highlight. So from 2016 to 2019, basically those were promotions to a senior engineer, chief engineer, and currently, I was appointed recently as an engineering manager. So basically, that's in a nutshell the highlights of my career. Okay, career challenges. I started at university, so I needed to learn to be independent. So as a boy, being spoiled, I never used to cook for myself, so I needed to adapt to that. And also adapting to technology because, coming from rural areas, we were not exposed to computers. So I needed to learn fast and also, find a way to grasp whatever is required from me. I also needed to learn to work as a team player. I'm reserved, I'm conservative. So I needed to be out there and really interact with people. So that's what I learned at university, and also managing my finances because I was receiving a bursary. And if you're not used to getting thousands in your account, it was a bit of a challenge, but I needed to learn that quickly. Otherwise, I was going to run out of money and struggle to really, look after myself. At work, initially I struggled with the language barrier, being African. So we worked with a lot of white people, Afrikaners mostly. So in meetings, you find that they'll use Afrikaans as a language. And I needed to be assertive and really request them to use the language that I understand, which is English. So it's something that you might encounter in your life. So, but you need to stand your ground and really ask them to speak a language that everyone understands. Currently, I think the age difference between myself and the people that are reporting to me, some of them are very old and they have a lot of experience. So managing that was a bit of a challenge, but eventually I managed to get them on board. So we can work together for the betterment of the organization I work for. And also managing 150 engineers, it's a bit of a challenge. You can just imagine, your life changes completely. So you need to know their whereabouts and manage their deliverables and outputs as well. So that's the biggest one. Recently, I had to deal with a lot of discipline issues. So I needed to apply the procedures of the company to ensure people are disciplined and are following policies and processes. So that's it in a nutshell. So maybe I'll stop there with the quotation that comes from our former president, which says education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Not only the world, but to also change your life. So that's it, Mapude. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jabu.
Okay, thank you so much, Jabu. Now we're going to go back to the Sustainable Development Goals. Help me welcome Ms. Ijeoma to do her presentation.
Is she here? Or is she muted?
Is she here? Okay, she's not responding.
Apparently she's muted. What's her name on the? She can unmute herself.
Sorry.
Ijeoma, are you able to unmute yourself? Or give me your name, because I don't know which one is you on the participant. Okay. Let's move on. We'll come back to her.
Okay. Next, we have Mporatando for media. Mporatando, you can present.
Okay.
He's not here. She's not here.
Is he not here?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's try the next person.
Okay, let's try Lieutenant Colonel Quip. Lieutenant for the South African Air Force.
Are they here?
I don't think so. Eh?
Okay,
let's go to IT.
Please go to
IT is here.
Please go to HNS, because
yes,
the
IT.
presentation is. Sorry, Rabelani, can you please go to HNS since their presentation is close by?
Okay. For HNS,
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. My name is Nompumelelo Molefe. Just a correction. Just a quick correction. The company is the Air Traffic and Navigation Services. That's the S there.
Apologies about that, Nompumelelo.
No problem. Well, I'm an air traffic controller and I am from ATNS. We are an entity of the Department of Transport, and we can start.
Are you able to see?
Yes, I am. To give you guys a brief overview of my educational pathway, I went to the Wurtaghnisi Primrose Technical High School. It's situated in Primrose in the east of Johannesburg. There, after completing my studies there, I joined the ATNS Aviation Training. Thereafter, I did my air traffic services rating. After that, I moved on to my clearance delivery rating, and then I did my aerodrome air traffic control rating. I've also studied with the International Air Transport Association, known as IATA. I've done my Civil Aviation Management Certificate as well as my Senior Civil Aviation Management Certificate, which are both going to come. I've also studied with UNISA. I've completed my higher certificate in supervisory management, and I'm currently doing my first year of my Bachelor of Business Administration degree. You can go to the next slide. So it's quite an unheard of career. It's not here of every day. And one thing that everybody always asks me is, why air traffic control? I grew up in Bedford View, which is a suburb that is situated on the east of Johannesburg. And later on in life, I actually discovered that the suburb is specifically beneath certain pathways in the Johannesburg airspace. So as a child, I'd always be fascinated by these aircrafts and helicopters that would be flying over our house all the time. And I used to ask myself, what keeps these things up in the air? And is there people inside? Where are they going? Where do they come from? So I've always had that fascination towards aviation. And then when I was in matric, my principal at the time at my high school was retiring in the same year. So one afternoon, he requested that all the matriculants come and all sit and fit into his office. And he said he wanted to have one last meeting with us before his last day at work. And as he sat down, he gave us a motivational talk about our careers and how we were at such a crucial stage in our lives when we were just faced with our final exams coming up in the next couple of weeks. And he said, we're all excited with what the future holds and, the prospects of leaving school and starting our lives. But he wanted to give us just a sound piece of many different directions, but so was the economy. So he said, whatever you guys choose to do the following year after you complete your studies, make sure that it's something that can give you a sustainable life, a life where you can be proud of yourselves, but also earn a living, because things were becoming very expensive in the country. So he didn't want us to say, basically, don't follow your dreams, but he was just saying that make sure that the dreams that you follow will be able to sustain you in the long run. So that's when I really started thinking deeply about what was I going to do for, after matric. And I started researching sustainable jobs in South Africa. I wanted to know which jobs were paying the most in South Africa. I wanted to know which jobs had a good success rate in South Africa. And upon conducting my research, ATNS kept coming up, and this air traffic control career kept coming up in the search engines on Google. But whenever I used to now look for the schools that offered air traffic control, there's this ATNS that kept coming up. So I decided to click on this website and do my research and find out who are these people and what do they do. And that's when I discovered that the company had a bursary program. And upon reading about the bursary program, I was so fascinated because I looked at the requirements and I thought, oh no, I can actually make it into this. So that's when I spoke to my mom and I said, you know what, I was Googling this thing, I don't know much about it, but I realized that their head office is down the road from where we live. So my mom took me there one afternoon and we met up with an HR practitioner who was more than willing to help me and asked for my June exam results. And that's how I just started the whole process, only to find that I was successful and I joined the company. So to move on and share my career highlights with you guys, the first one for me was a flight that was conducted in a Cessna 172, which is what we regard as a light aircraft. It's a single, it's got one engine and it's very the International Airport in Nelspruit, and that is on the, yes?
Your network is keeps on cutting up. Your network is not good. So maybe if you can just switch off the video part, maybe it will be better.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks.
Let's see if it's going to work. So sorry about that. So we flew the Cessna 172 from the Kruger International Airport in Nelspruit to Mkhuze in KwaZulu-Natal. Mkhuze is a settlement that's along the north coast. It's a small rural town. And for me, that was one of the most fascinating things where I realized that aviation can go anywhere, from suburban areas to rural areas, to places that you could never even think of. As long as there is an ability to take off, an ability to land, aviation will be there. My second career highlight has to be working as a clearance delivery officer at OR International Airport. This is obviously the biggest airport in Africa. And the experience was quite amazing because we get to work with pilots from all walks of life. You get to work with people who are coming from China, Germany, America. The list is absolutely endless. And of course, one of the most exciting aspects of their career is when you get to work with a pilot from Botswana who brings in that African element on frequency, because we're constantly communicating in radio telephony. But it's quite exciting when someone can greet you with a Dumelang or a Sawubona, and that just puts in that African element in the aviation industry. My third career highlight has to be upholding the safety standards of the Kimberley Airport all the way in the Northern Cape. Now, I grew up in Bedfordview. I'm from KwaZulu-Natal, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be working in the Northern Cape. Kimberley was quite an experience. They had quite a big variety of traffic, dual airlines that were going there, and sometimes we even had military operations. Sometimes we'd even have the president coming in and out of the airport. So it was quite a remarkable experience being there and getting to be a part of that team. Recent career highlight has to be validating the Virginia Airport in Durban. This is one of the busiest airports in our country right now. And the reason for this is because there's so many specialized activities that happen in and out of the Virginia Airport. We have vehicle tracking companies, we have our medical rescue companies, we have our corporate business and private jets that come in and out of the airport. So that has been quite interesting to work with. So air traffic control challenges, there are many, because no 2 days are the same in air traffic control. But just to name a few, we get a rapid increase in workload. That would be working in the tower, and all you have on that particular day is your student pilots. But the situation becomes complex.
We are losing you.
You have another helicopter needing immediate liftoff for medical purposes. Let me check, but my network seems to be stable on my side.
Is it my one? Can everyone hear her though?
Seems to be stable on
I'm struggling a bit as well in Mapule with the network.
Okay, so I'm not the only one.
Okay, let me try connect to a different Wi-Fi connection. I think that might help.
Okay.
Let me just try. Mapule, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think it might be better now.
Yeah, I think you can just repeat the slide.
Okay, just to touch on again the air traffic control challenges. Like I said, the rapid increase in workload that's resulting in stressful scenarios. In a typical shift, you could have your student pilots conducting circuit training, which means basically they will be flying in and around the airport. So they're basically practicing their landings and their takeoffs on the runway, meaning they're just going to be flying in a circular pattern. So you could have 3 or 4 of those following each other. Next thing, you've got helicopter requiring immediate liftoff for vehicle tracking purposes. You have another helicopter requiring immediate liftoff for medical purposes. You could have your military operations requiring usage of your airspace. You could have advanced services as well, requesting control services to go in and out of the ocean. So there's so many things that could happen, thus requiring your attention at all times. Of course, ensuring that every flight is conducted timeously in a safe, orderly, and expeditious manner. So everybody, in air traffic control, you cannot say one person at a time. There is indeed only one of you, aircrafts in your airspace at provided an air traffic control service in a safe, orderly, and expeditious manner. Of course, remaining abreast, I'm sorry, please just go back. Remaining abreast with all movements in your airspace at all times. Like I said, you could have 8 different aircrafts. That's 8 different people doing 8 different things. You, as an air traffic controller,
Mute. Sorry, Nompumelelo. Okay, please continue. Sorry about that.
but you as an air traffic controller, you need to be aware of what everybody is doing at all times and their position, especially as a tower controller who is an air traffic controller that sits in the tower that is based times. So you are looking at everybody that's still on the ground, navigating their way to or from the round, needing to do maintenance work or grass cutting, still keeping an eye on the people that are arriving at the airport on their arrival sequence or departing from the airport regarding takeoffs. So you have to literally know what everybody is doing at all times in your airspace. You can go to the next slide. So the greatest part about being an air traffic controller is the fact that the Air Traffic and Navigation Services offers a bursary program. We have the following bursaries on offer. We've got the Aeronautical Information Management Officer, we've got the Air Traffic Services Officer, the Air Traffic Control Officer, and the Target Generating Officer. So all these bursaries are ATNS Aviation Training Academy. This is basically the only institution in the country that offers all 4 of these bursaries. You can go to the next slide. So the ATNS bursary program provides each bursar with the opportunity to conduct their studies at the ATNS Aviation Training Academy in Benera Park, Johannesburg. The following is offered as part of the bursary program. So our bursary offers the cost of tuition for the ATS core content course, accommodation on a sharing basis at a guest lodge arranged by the college, transport to and from the ATNS college as per the study and practical requirements. We offer daily breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We do offer you a monthly allowance as well. And there's also 10 days of non-academic activities as determined by the study program. So the course can usually range, if my memory serves me correctly, it's usually between 3 to 4 months per course on this bursary program. I can go to the next slide. So the requirements for the bursary program, applicants must be 18 years of age or older in order to commence with the bursary. Applicants are required to have obtained a grade 12 certificate with a 50% minimum or level 4 for both mathematics and English. Applicants must be South African citizens and they must be medically fit. Some people might want to know if COVID-19 has impacted this program in any way. Fortunately not. The bursary program has not been, you're more than welcome to apply. And if you want to know how to apply, you can simply go to our website, www.atns.com. And on all of our social media pages, we are on Twitter and we are on Facebook as ATNS SA. You can go to the next slide. The selection process is somewhat intense because you will be required to write an ability assessment. The last time I remember, if I remember correctly on my own, they basically just want to test or assess your math skills, your English, your problem solving. It's not necessarily, there's no right or wrong, but there is a benchmark that the program requires. So the assessments are conducted in such a way as to see that you are able to meet that benchmark particularly. Thereafter, if you're successful on that part, you move over to an interview process where you are interviewed by the HR practitioners and some of our senior air traffic controllers and some people that are part of the ATNS management. And then if you're successful from that, you move forward to go to an aviation doctor where you undergo a medical examination. It's usually also a test of just slight tests of fitness, your eyesight, and your breathing. It's like I said, there's no right or wrong to it, but there is a benchmark that is set for you to be successful on that. And then lastly, you will be required to undergo a vetting process. So only candidates who have been successful in each of the above will receive a bursary contract. You can go to the next slide.
Thank you
so much
for that. Now we're going to welcome someone from South Africa.
I think you cut her. She was still gonna say her last words. Sorry,
sorry about that.
I thought you said thank you. I'm so sorry.
So basically, in a nutshell, it's Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. So basically, in a nutshell, it's a career that is very challenging, but extremely rewarding. You sit in an air traffic control tower, or you can sit in a radar room. There's 3 different aspects of air traffic control. We get aerodrome control, we get approach radar control, and we get area control. So there's so many different dynamics within the air traffic control industry in itself. No 2 days are the same, like I said, and we work shifts, not work on a Friday, but work the Saturday and the Sunday. But it gives you so much excitement. The job is definitely fulfilling, both financially and socially. You know, the friends that you get to make in the aviation community, be it pilots, be it aviation specialists, and so forth. There's so many opportunities as well within the industry. My career on the academic
we are losing
aspects
you there.
of, you could represent the aviation division within the Department of Transport as well in this country.
Nompumelelo, you have disappeared. Okay, I think we can, since she was just concluding, we can let her go. She will, yeah, I think she'll be back for questions. So whatever she missed to tell us then during question and answer session, then she can just finish off that. Sorry about that, Nompumelelo. Let's just try to move on. Rabelani.
Okay, thank you, Mapule. Now we can welcome Mrs. Lieutenant Colonel Quip from the South African Air Force. Can you start with your presentation if you are here? Colonel Quip, are you here?
They said he was here.
I don't think they're here. So we can continue and move to IT, where we'll give Mr. or Mrs. Puruso Musecho, or it's Mr. because it's Justin Musecho, to do the presentation.
Thanks a lot. Good morning, guys. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, we can hear you. Just a moment, let me get to your presentation.
Excellent, thanks.
Am I lost? Where is this one? This will be the last one. Is this your one? Okay.
Yeah, that's my one. Yeah, if we move to the beginning. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, guys. My name is Puruso Justin Musecho, and I'm a software engineering lead. I have, I think, in my experience, I've been exposed mainly in digitization within the banking fraternity. What I'm going to present here, if we just move to the next slide, I've got 3 slides, I believe, mainly, and the one main slide that we will have speaks to all these items that you're seeing here. I will move into different parts of it, but that's basically what I will go through. I'll explain my journey. I'll explain my career choice reasons, highlights in my career, both educationally and within some of the work that I've done. I will speak to challenges and lessons, and then we will move to admission requirements for technology qualifications. I will speak mainly to, so when we speak IT, I know that because of the fact that it's quite a big discipline, I will speak to exactly what I worked in, which is mainly in the computer science and software engineering portion of things. We know that there's a portion that speaks to computer hardware, which some of it gets covered by what a gentleman that presented before me spoke about, which is electronic engineering, and then it also speaks to computer engineering. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Thanks. Thanks. Okay, so I started my high school at Mbidri Secondary School, and you pretty much have one choice there. It's mathematics, physical sciences, and the rest of the items. But I believe in the computer science world, what you would need is mainly mathematics, physical science, and an APS score of 30, between 30 and 32, depending on which university you would need to go into. And then it will obviously drop a bit when you go into a university of technology. I will also speak to that as well. So I did my high school at Mbidri Secondary School, and then I moved on to to the University of Pretoria, where I studied BSc IT. I chose 2 majors, computer science and informatics. Now, what computer science is, it deals with languages of computing devices. So your phone, your laptop or desktop computer, an ATM, your swiping device, all those devices are computing devices, and they speak a language, and we call them programming languages. And we basically, so what you would do if you were to study IT, software engineering, computer systems, computer sciences, you basically learn languages that basically help computing devices understand what we're trying to say. For an example, if you press a button on your phone doesn't necessarily know that you press a button without that language. So there's a programming language that allows your phone to understand what is happening. So that's in a nutshell what you would learn. And then moving on to that, you would need, once you've learned programming languages, you move on to learning software engineering methodologies. This is basically how you create software, how you deliver softwares based on what industry you would be in. So I chose computer science and informatics. The reason why I chose both is because I wanted, so the computer science of the side of things speaks to the semantics of programming, but it doesn't speak to the business side of things. The business side meaning, if you're working in a bank, there's executives that give you initiatives that need to be delivered, and there's certain things that get applied to that, gathering requirements all the way until the product is fully fleshed. So there's certain things that I could not get necessarily from computer science modules or subjects, and so that's why I chose majors in informatics as well. And I'll also speak to what exactly informatics is. So if you want to study informatics, what you would end up in, you still end up in software development, you end up in software engineering, but you take slightly different roles than what a person that studied computer science would take, in the sense that a person that studied computer science would write the program, but a person that studied informatics gathers requirements and turns them into technical documents that are given to the computer science guy to write the code and develop the application, basically. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what I did in university. I faced similar challenges like typically people of color would have faced. Number one being, coming from high school, you have no programming understanding. When you say you're going to study IT, you think you're going to study fixing computers, and it's not always necessarily the case. And so there was a bit of a gap between the high school system and the varsity system, in the sense that I had to learn the depth of programming at a very short space of time. I actually did a 3-year program in 5 years because of that. I mainly started understanding what I was going to do at my job, or at least having a view of how my roles would look when I get to work. I started understanding that on my 3rd year of studying because of that. So you work through the system before you can really understand what is happening. So that's in a nutshell how my journey was in varsity. I started my career at a company called EOH. They've changed names now to IoTech. It's a Microsoft services company, and we developed applications for businesses. I did a couple of projects for around 8 months to a year. And then I moved, and I'll also explain why the move happened. I moved to a company that's based in Duluth in Georgia. And it was an opportunity that I wanted because of the fact that I wanted to start learning things like machine learning and artificial intelligence, which speaks to basically programming devices to, number one, predict the future, or to predict human behavior. I'll give you an example. In China today, they have applications that process data and information to predict what could happen in the future, so that they're able to build applications that sort of circumvent the future. And that is basically what I decided to start moving into that. And that's where I started, I would say, loving my career and what I do. So my second job was at NCR as a full stack software developer. I was writing code for different companies, including companies here in South Africa, banks like Absa, FNB, Nedbank, and Capitec, for their branch optimization projects. What branch optimization is, it deals with everything that happens in the branch that is repeated daily. We try and automate that so that these employees are moved into more productive work. So this is basically what the 4th Industrial Revolution is about. We try and automate everything that you would do every single day, sometimes without really thinking much. We move that onto a computer. That's why today you will receive a call that is automated, and it's not a call center person that's speaking to you, and it collects all the data that you would have given, and it predicts what would be needed or services that would be needed. That's part of what we do, and that part is called robotics. I then moved from NCR, and I moved to Altron Systems Integration. Altron was previously called Bytes, and now they've rebranded to Altron, which was just a group of companies. And when I was there, I was an intermediate software developer, and I still was doing programming, but I had moved a bit more into business engagement, and that speaks to obviously bridging the gap between business stakeholders and your software developers or development teams. And most of the projects that I did there spoke to improving business processes. So I'll give you an example. When you go to SAPS to open a case, there's a manual file that gets opened called a docket. So we digitize all that work. And we did that for a couple of clients. We digitize every process that gets to be done. If you go to a doctor and you, as a patient, they open a file, which is basically just a physical file. We move those files into mobile apps or computer applications. So that's most of the work that I did when I was in Altron. I then moved back to NCR as a technical lead. And most of the work that I was doing there did not have to do with coding per se, but it spoke to strategy. It spoke to team coaching and just helping the team in terms of understanding what path they would need to take within the industry. I also sticked on to business engagement as well. When I moved to Nedbank, it was mainly, it was during COVID-19. And the reason why I decided to move into banks, you'll see after Nedbank, I moved to ABSA. The reason why was because of a specific project that we wanted to realize within banks as part of sort of circumventing what is happening today with COVID. And the specific project, which was really a highlight for me, it was creating touchless transactions for customers. That has been built for Nedbank. It's currently being built as well in other banks. And what it does is that you would ideally interact with devices like your ATM or any self-service device without touching the device. You would be communicating with your phone, and the device will know what you want, and it will, if it's a cash withdrawal that you need, it will then dispense your money without you touching the device to reduce touch because of the effects of that during this season. So that's mainly why I actually stayed in Nedbank just for 8 months. It was literally just to deliver this project. That's where my role as a software engineering lead started. And then I moved on to ABSA, where I currently am now. And what I do is we are moving all our branch processes or branch operations into the digital world. That's number one. And number two, I've seen a lot of move of people in terms of the careers they're into the digital career, which is, careers in technology. I'll explain the different roles that people can move to, because I know that, I might not be speaking to people who are in high school or university trying to find out what to do. You could be in a different career trying to move into a career in technology. So I can explain that as well. Let's move on to the next slide. Thanks. So if you choose to study, and I spoke to it just a bit in brief, if you choose to study at a university, you would study a BSc IT, computer science, or information systems. They're named differently with different universities or institutions. Or you would study a BCom IT, which I believe UJ offers BCom IT. I know other institutions do offer that, which basically will have two things in one. It will have some computer science focus, and it will also have business focus in it, which goes back to why I said I chose computer science and informatics. It is because of the fact that I wanted to not just build applications. I wanted to build applications that make business work. So if you're studying in a university, this is what you would ideally study, or become information systems or become informatics. So if you're moving into become informatics, you would need mathematics, English, and accounting. I believe that accounting is an advantage, but not a requirement at the University of Pretoria. I'm not sure about other universities. And if you choose to study at a University of Technology, you would ideally complete a national diploma in IT. I believe in TUT, they also will call it software development or engineering. And I know that in the VUT, they call it computer systems. So it speaks in terms of computer systems, it speaks both to the networking side of things and the server side of things, but it also speaks to programming. It speaks to software engineering, which I'm more focused on. Okay, and I've spoken obviously with regards to that. What I would also recommend to people who would like to study this is to make sure that beyond just studying, the importance of studying is that you get an education, but it's beyond just the paper. Make sure you understand the concepts, because of the fact that programming as a language, it's just like your typical language, like Chivenda or Sepedi. You do not need a book to speak that language. You need to get an understanding. So beyond getting, that paper and all that, I would really advise that you learn as much as possible to get the understanding of the programming language that you're learning. There's different programming languages depending on what types of applications you're building. Maybe you're building an Android application, you're building an iOS application, a Windows application. But the important thing is that you should get an understanding in all that. I have already spoken to the highlights of my career, which are it's mostly what I'm doing. We're creating transactional robots that basically move all our branch processes or normal operational processes into devices. One of the highlights right now that I'm working on as part of a team, and I'm a technical lead in that, we are actually building robots that replace bulk teller areas in banking. And what happens there is that if you go into a bank today and you're a business owner and you need to bank notes and coins, what would happen when you're in there is that once you give the money to the physical teller, which is a bank employee, that bank employee goes into the back end, and that money needs to go into treasury, and it needs to be banked into different accounts, and then it goes into your account. Okay, now that whole process is now being automated, and there'll be a device that sits there, and the customer goes in and does everything unassisted, and everything will happen automatically, including the reconciliation of the money. So there's a lot of benefits in that. There's a lot of benefits in what we're doing with digitalization. And you might be asking yourself, what happens to the employee? So as part of our digitization process, what we try to do is to migrate skills. And that's why I would also like, if you're sitting in an operational space where most of the work is manual but repetitive, you need to be thinking about that at the back of your head, because of the fact that the revolution started already, and you need to be sort of ahead of it, because change will do one of two things. You can either be a part of it, or it will force your life to change. All right, I've already spoken to some of the challenges. What I highlighted here speaks to what most of us will face if you're already in industry and working. When you're coming fresh from university, it's very difficult to get into a position where you are trusted, number one, with responsibility and deliverables. But I believe that if you have studied to add value, you should be able to overcome that, which is pretty much what I have done. And always be prepared that you will work overtime in terms of the effort that you put in. And the reason why is because the gap between university and industry is always there. It doesn't matter whether you came out with a degree, with an honors, there will always be a gap, and you are the one that needs to fill it. And once you are trusted with that, you're going to be able to deliver much more projects. The last portion of my presentation speaks to different career opportunities in technology. You could become, in the software development area, you could become a software developer or engineer. This is the person that actually writes code. They program applications. They could build websites, web applications, social media applications, all that kind of stuff. And number two, you could become a gaming developer. which basically you develop games. There's gaming companies in the country that are actually global as well. The other good thing about this area is that I've been able to work, I think 5 years of my life, I was working remotely before COVID, long before COVID. I think I started in 2015 in August. I was working for a company in the US and I was sitting here in South Africa. Most of the time I actually spent down in Venda. So that's another plus of it. Your opportunities are not just in the country. Even if you plan to not leave the country, you can have opportunities outside the country, and you could work with different customers and companies. And this is not just with institutions. I will write on the chat. There's one web application that it's basically a platform. It's called Respondent, and you can easily go and get work there. And you get paid something between $20 and $250 per hour. And you can do literally anything. You could do mentorship. You can do, and this is not just in IT. It could be in any industry. You just go and create your profile there, and everything gets paid into your PayPal account and then into your account. So that's another good thing about technology, is that you're not the world becomes a village for you. Okay, moving on, you could become a software test engineer. Every single application that you see out there, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, it's your internet banking application, it doesn't matter what it is, it was tested by someone. Or it was the test automation was built by someone. There's something called test automation where you have robots that are testing applications. So you could also become a software test engineer. There's manual and automated testing there. You could become a database developer. All the data that is sitting somewhere on your Facebook account, it's sitting in a database that's sitting in the cloud. And there's a person called a database developer that will work with that as well. A database administrator is the same as, not the same, but work in the same area as a database developer. And the job of this person is to basically manage environments where data sits and designs thereof. Okay. And then the next portion of things is analysis. You could become a business analyst. I've seen a lot of people that moved from industrial engineering into business analysis. What these people do is that as a resource in the team, you take on initiatives from the business stakeholders, and you basically create specifications and user requirements, and you go through a whole requirements gathering process using certain methodologies, of course, within the industry, to give requirements to the software development team for them to develop applications. I've seen a lot of people move into this area as well. A systems analyst works with a business analyst, and both their jobs are sort of similar in the sense that they create specifications and they work to understand different interfaces within a team, and their job is mainly to make sure that the requirements get to the developers in an understandable manner. Okay, they're basically, if you look at systems and business analysts, they're basically like your architect, the person that creates a blueprint of a house or something like this. That's what you would see the person doing. Data analysts and scientists, these are people that collect data. So data as it is meaningless. And then there's applications that process data to make it information. And then that information is used to predict the future. Like, for example, if you have too many customers that withdraw more than 1,000 rands within a specific area, then that means your operations team needs to deliver more money into that area, things like that. So you use data to predict certain trends and all that. So these are some of the careers that you would go into. Test analyst is also similar to a test engineer, but a test analyst speaks to certain analysis, and that dictates quality of software. And then cybersecurity analyst speaks to, I'm sure you have at some point in your life heard a person speak of a hacker. A hacker is basically a person that intercepts certain processes in the internet or in technology infrastructure for harm. So they could install a virus or spyware onto your device. So these people are in every single application that you run that is owned by corporate. There's a person that is this resource that makes sure that they detect what a hacker would potentially do before they do it. Over and above these, there's quite a lot of roles, and in the next coming 5 to 10 years, because of the change that's happening in technology, there's absolutely going to be a lot of roles that are not mentioned here, that are not on the internet today, that will change. I'll give an example. Some years ago, when you get on an elevator, there were no buttons. And there was a person that had, I can't remember what the role was of that person, but they sat in the lift and you told them what floor you were going into. And this person would do something on the elevator. And then a combination of electronic engineers and software engineers brought us to where we are today, where an elevator does not have that resource. That resource is gone, and there's other resources now that are made available. So in the same way in technology, this is what you're going to get. And that's pretty much it. Let's go to the next slide. I think that's probably going to be the last slide. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for the time, guys. Just remember, whatever you do, make sure you love it, because you will have to wake up every single day to do this over and over again. Thanks.
Thank you, Puluso. Just for interest, where is Georgia?
It's in the United States.
Okay, thank you. Rabelani?
Thank you so much, Pruso, for that. And guys, please remember that we're going to have a Q&A session after this. So you can be writing down the questions that you have on a piece of paper or ask in the chat box. And then when the session times comes, we will answer all your questions. Now we're going to have a representative from the South African Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel Cribb. Can you please do your presentation now?
I don't know if he's still on here. I'm checking his phone, I'm not seeing it. Lieutenant, are you still here? Lieutenant, are you here? Okay.
Yes, I think it's Huawei i30.
Should I start
Please
with
unmute.
Huawei? Let's see. Oh, okay. He needs to accept unmute though. Please unmute. I've sent a request to unmute. You need to accept that. Okay, he's unmuted. You can take over, Lieutenant.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but your network, it doesn't sound good.
Yes, and unfortunately, I'm working from home because it's Saturday. We work from Monday to Friday. But anyway, let's do this. I am Sergeant Maposa from the South African Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Tupe is actually my supervisor, but I'm the one who will be doing the presentation on behalf of the South African Air Force. But before we do that, I wanted us to talk about SANDF. What is SANDF? SANDF is an abbreviation for South African National Defence Force. Okay, and then in the SANDF, which is the South African National Defence Force, we've got 4 arms of service. One, we've got the South African Army. South African Army, their main role and responsibility is to safeguard the borders of South Africa on the ground. They are what we call foot soldiers. Anything that is on the ground is their responsibility to safeguard for us. Then we've got the South African Air Force. That's where I come in. The South African Air Force main purpose and sole responsibility is to safeguard the airspace of South Africa. We are in the air. That's where you find all the pilots and the navigators and everything. Then you've got the South African Navy. South African Navy, their sole responsibility is to look and safeguard our waters. There you find the sailors in the South African Navy. Then the last one will then be the South African Military Health Services. Now, like any other organization in the South African Health Military Services, you there find your doctors and your psychologists. So all these guys in the South African Military Health Services are professionals in the medical field. So now going back into the South African Air Force, or in general, what does it take for one to become a member of the South African Defence Force? One, you first need to be a South African and age between 18 to 22. When I say 18 to 22, then it's your general application when we say we want the matriculants. All our matriculants must be between the age of 18 to 22. Then we only accept you with your matric certificate, but with the APA score of 17, excluding life orientation. Then if you have your tertiary to 26. Now, different general masterings. In general, HR, supply support. Supply support is what you would, in the civilian world, call logistics. And within the logistical department, then there is different branches where we have people like chefs, people, those who cook for us. We would have people, those who work in the stores. We will have people, those who work in the fleet management. That are all the people that will be following within the supply support. Then we've got protection services. Protection services, if you can check all the military buildings and bases, you do not have any civilian guards that are guarding our properties. So we do have our own protection services that will be guarding the military bases and the buildings. Then within the protection services, you will have the VIP protectors. Those are tasked to protect the VIPs within the Defense Force or in government. Then again, within the protection services, then you will have what we call the PTI instructors, physical trainers instructors. There you will find them within the protection services. But let's go back. I'm gonna give you an example. I have a member A, he has just completed matric, he applies to join the South African Air Force. How does it go about? When the Air Force has set out the advertisement for people to apply, like currently now we have the advertisement that is out, the closing date is on the 30th of July. So once we have received the application, then we do screening and all that, then you get invited, you go and do your selections. Once you have passed your selection, then we move to a process that we call medicals. Because in the Defense Force, it's a physical work that you'll mostly need to do. So we'll need to go and check your medical records. Are you a fit person? You don't have maybe heart diseases when you do your training that you'll collapse. You don't want to kill people. So then you'll be doing your physical training. You'll be doing your medical evaluations. Once you are done with your medical evaluations, then we will go and check your criminal records if you don't have criminal records. Once your file is completed and you have passed all part of our selection, then we invite you for military basic training. So before we even go to all this, nice to have careers within the
We are losing you there.
All of us must military training basic with province. It's a period where, okay, can you see me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Like I said, during that 6 months for military basic training, you will be learning everything about the military etiquette, what is done in the military. We will, if you are not fit, we will make you fit. So yes, it's a very nice environment to be in the South African Air Force. Now we move on to other masterings, like I was telling you mostly about the general masterings like HR, logistics, and protection. Now we have another division that is called engineers and pilots and technical services. There in the engineers and pilots, you need an AP score of 35 with maths and science level 3, English level 5. If, like I always go back, if you just completed your matric, all you need is age between 18 to 22. Then the South African Air Force, once you have passed everything of theirs and you have done your basic military training, if you want to be an engineer and you qualify according to our requirements, we will then take you to varsity to go and study in that department where you want to pursue your career. So like in most cases, I normally say to the recruits, the Air Force or the Defense Force in full needs young and vibrant candidates. Once you leave your matric and you've set your mind and say, okay, I want to become an engineer. Maybe there's no money in the family for you to go to varsity. Let me join the South African Air Force. I can become an engineer within the South African Air Force. Then you come in through, you pass all the selections. Then once you are done with that, you go to varsity to study and become a member of the South African Air Force. What are the challenges in the South African Air Force? Like any other department, there is challenges. Like most, we prefer that our new recruits, they must be single because you also ought not to be area bound. I can imagine we've recruited you maybe in Gqeberha, and then you must go and do your training in Limpopo. And once you are done with your training, then you are stationed in Mpumalanga. You see, so there's lots of movement within the country. So if you are
We are losing you again.
Area about it is much easier for you to pursue your career. Is that during the training and then you don't have to. When the defense, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yes, and yes, like I said, currently we're having our advertisement out for candidates to apply, especially those who are aged between 18 and 22 with only matric certificate, and those who have a tertiary qualification will be from the age 22 to 26. So everybody is encouraged, please apply. And then if there's any more further information, our office number is 012-351-4157. You'll find us from Monday to Friday. I will repeat that number again, 012-351-4157. Or you could go to www.af.mil.za. The application is also there on that website, www.af.mil.za. And like I said, I am Sergeant Maposa from the South African Air Force. I hope most of you will take this opportunity, especially now that the application is out, apply. And if you have any further questions that you would want us to answer for you from Monday to Friday, you can phone the office and then we'll be gladly to assist you. We are based in Pretoria, in Valhalla. If those who are in Pretoria are familiar with the place Valhalla, that's where you are. But then there's also an outside station where people, especially people, those who are in Pretoria, those who can drop off application, Kona Visagie and Paul Kruger. Kona Visagie and Paul Kruger, you can drop off applications there. The nicest part about this place, is that they're also open from Monday to Friday, especially now with the advertisement being out. There you'll not only find the South African Air Force, but you will find all 4 arms of service. If you are interested in the Navy, there'll be Navy people there who will have their application and who will help you to go through all their careers that are available. There'll be the South African Military Health Services also available. Then there'll also be the South African Army. And yes, basically that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I wish you your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Maposa. Thank you for that info. Rabelani, over to you.
Thank you. Does anyone have a question for him? If you have a question, you can direct it now in the chat, or you can unmute and ask a question.
Yes, Sergeant Maposa has asked to be excused after his presentation. So any questions directed to him? Go ahead, Palisa.
I just wanted to ask if does the South African Air Force have law?
Sergeant Maposa, there's a question.
Can I answer that one?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, yes. South African Air Force does have law. Like if you have watched the movies or in the military movies, we have what we call court martials. You see, where we have in the court martials, we have a military judge and military lawyers. So you can also apply with your qualification as long as you meet the most important thing with us is the age restriction, because I understand most of the people will have that law degree or have a degree in HR, but they are above the age requirement. But then yes, you can apply with your law degree.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, this is specifically for you. I wanted to know the height of a person who wants to be in the military. So which height should the person be?
Okay, generally to be in the military, the height is not that important. But then the height becomes important when you want to be a pilot, you see? So then that's where the height will be a problem. But if you just generally want to join the military, either to be a chef in the military, or you want to be an HR practitioner, or you want to be a firefighter, or you want to be in protection, there's no restriction on height.
Thank you, sir. And then
I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, and then my other question is that which size should I be? Because I heard that there's a 6 months training and then you could even lose interest due to, because let me say that I am big and then I can't be able to do those exercises due to my weight, to my weight. So I just wanted to know which size I should be before I come to your department.
I don't much on the issues of size and height, because that is mostly dealt with the medical people when you do your evaluation. They have more information to tell you that. And the other thing, what is going to happen? Let's say you have applied, and then when you go through the medicals, you're not only going to check whether you have BP or what. They're going to check your body, your BMI, which is body mass index. And then they will tell you, member A, you are 10 kgs above the requirement. Then you will tell you the intake will only start in 6 months' time. If you can lose 10 kgs before then, you can come and join us. So I don't want us to say, worry much about the height and stuff. Apply and let yourself go through the processes. Then you only realize that maybe you don't have a problem. And the issue of fitness, it's not a problem. It is the responsibility of those PTI, physical instructors, to make sure. Remember, the basic training is to convert you from a civilian into a military personnel. So their job in that 6 months is to make sure if you are unable to carry a bag full of your own clothes, before that 6 months end, you should be able to carry your bag full of your clothes by yourself. I hope I've answered your question.
I think you have. Is there anyone with another question?
Hi, I just want to find out something regarding the psychology in military. Let's say you've got somebody who's doing a clinical psychology, but he's in second year. He's gonna do his degree next year. But with the clinical psychology, you need to do the master's. So I just want to find out, can you also register, apply maybe after the degree, and then you continue within the military to do your honors and masters for psychology?
Okay. I understand that is actually not even within my department, which is the South African Air Force. Your question will have to fall within the South African Military Health Services. So what I can answer at this stage is that
we are losing you, Sergeant.
Normally, the professors that are recruited. Can you hear me now?
No, not yet.
Hello. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yes, as I was saying to the member who asked the question, that question actually it can be best answered by the South African Military Health Services. So I am with the South African Air Force. I deal with technicians, engineers, pilots, and those general masterings that I've mentioned. So I don't want to confuse you by answering from my mind and only to find out that what I have in mind, it's actually not the correct answer. But what you can do, those numbers that I've given to you, I'm in the office on Monday. You can call me, look for Sergeant Maposa, then I will get you the correct answer, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Okay, there's another question in the chat. They say, with what percentage must you pass those particular subjects to be able to apply?
Well, like I said, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Like I said, with general mastering again, it's HR, corporate communication, logistics, protection. There you only need an AP score of 17, excluding life orientation. So when I have your metric certificate, I need to count 17 points, excluding life orientation. We don't count life orientation. And then if you, let's say you get in any subject, you pass it with 1. Remember, 1 doesn't get counted. So I count only from 2 above. That is for general masterings. Now, if you want to be a technician, like aircraft mechanic, aircraft electrician, radio radar, and all those technicians, you need a minimum of level 3 of maths and physical science. And I know most of our candidates, they don't like to do pure maths. They do maths literacy. No, we don't want maths literacy. In those technical, I need pure maths, which is mathematics, at least a minimum of level 3, and physical science, a minimum of level 3. And again, even with those ones, your AP score will have to be 17. But then now when we move to pilots and engineers, I need an AP score of 35 with maths and science level 3. English.
Okay, we have lost you again
level
now.
5. Thank you.
Okay. And there was just another one. It's under Navy, but it's just general. Why do the Navy work underwater?
Okay, the Navy work underwater because their sole and purpose or responsibility is to safeguard our waters. They safeguard us from all the enemies that may be coming through, entering South Africa through the waters. Like I said, the Air Force, their responsibility is to safeguard the airspace. Any enemy that may be coming through the airspace, the Air Force must be there to defend South Africa. And SA Army, anything that happens on the ground by the borders there in Bait Bridge and so forth, the SA Army, they are responsible for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question from anyone before we let him go? Okay, it doesn't seem to be. What is this?
What happens after the training of the military course?
Hello?
Come again?
Hi. What happens on the training of the military course?
I think
I'm
they're
not
asking,
sure if I understand you.
I think they're asking what happens after the training of that military.
Okay. Like I said, the training of military basic training is the entrance for all of us who are in the military. Then what happens, let's say you had applied to be an HR practitioner. Once you are done with the basic military training, then you get transferred to an HR school within the Defense Force, where you will pursue and study according to your mastering, which is your career in HR. Then also, there's also opportunities where you can study at state expense. We've got colleges within the Defense Force, in-house colleges, where all these other careers where you can go and study after you have completed your basic military training. But then further and more, you can also apply within the Defense Force. Once you are a member, you can apply to go and study at universities to further study in the career where you are actually employed as. So as an HR practitioner, I can apply.
We are losing you again.
Once I'm done with the in-house ever institution to get a degree. Yes. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, like I said, what normally happens after basic training is that a member will be transferred to their careers in-house colleges within the Defense Force, where you study further how to become an HR practitioner or how to become a logistic. Then further more than that, once you are done with the in-house colleges and you've got the military qualifications, you can still apply within the DOD, which is the Department of Defense, to study at state expense in the universities, where the state will pay for you to pursue further your qualification in that career you are in. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio.
Any mechanical engineer?
We will take. Oh, you mean in the military?
Yeah. Is mechanical engineering included in
Yes, we do have mechanical engineers. But then, like I said, in that department, your APS score needs to be 35. With a minimum of maths level 3 and physical science 3.
Okay.
Okay,
thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think overall he had said, the surgeon has said the entry level into the basic military training, he said it's 17 points. And if you want to study further, you need to meet the requirements for the university or for the University of Technology or for the college. So I think in short, that's what it is. So just to go through military, you need that 17 points. But if in military you want to now study further, to do maybe a degree, a diploma, or a certificate, you need to meet the requirements of universities. I think that's about it. Am I correct?
That is very correct.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, you are very correct. Yes.
If there are no further questions, Rabelani.
Thank you, Mapula. Since there are no further questions, we are going to go on how to apply at UJ. So currently, I'm doing my second year at the University of Johannesburg, APK campus. I'm doing my LLB there. So I'm going to tell you guys how to apply at UJ. Can you please go to the next slide, Mapula? Or should I just share my screen?
No. It's gonna interrupt the whole thing. I will share your presentation.
I can just share my screen. Oh, okay. Okay, for online applications, the applications for 2022 opened on the 1st of April 2021. So they are already open, so you can hand in your applications now. The closing date is the 30th of September this year. So in order to apply, you can go to the website www.uj.ac.za. And then there you'll get the link Study at UJ, where you will see an option to either apply online or do a paper-based application. So when you're applying online, the applications are free. You don't have to pay any fee after that. Can you please go to the next slide? Can you please?
Apologies. My Zoom just disappeared. Okay. Apologies about that. Let me just go here. Okay. Go ahead, Rabelani.
Okay. Okay, as I was saying, for the paper-based applications, the application form is also found on the same link which I spoke about, Study at UJ. You can download it, then fill it in offline. After which you can either submit it to the Student Enrollment Center or via email. But then what you should know is that for the paper-based application, you have to pay an application fee of 200 rands when you're applying using paper-based application. So what I can advise is to just do an online application because it saves time and money. Next slide. What is needed for a successful application? For a successful application, you need to have a valid email address. And then you also have to meet the minimum entrance requirements for the course you wish to apply for. So you cannot apply for a course which you don't meet the requirements for because the university will just deny your application immediately and you'll not get a chance to be reviewed even if you pass your matric well. So when you apply, you have to meet the minimum requirements. The other thing is you have to download the 2022 prospectus so you can see what the minimum requirements for the course you wish to apply for are. The other thing that is needed is a certified copy of your grade 11 results for verification. Your final results will be considered as well. So what this means is that your grade 11 results are used for you to be either provisionally selected or accepted. But then if you're provisionally selected, you can either get denied or accepted next year, depending on how you did on your matric. So you should make sure that your grade 11 results are good enough for you to gain entrance in the school. The other thing is that you are only allowed to apply for 2 study choices. So make sure you choose wisely. Your first choice is considered first. What this means is that UG only allows you to apply for 2 choices. And if you are accepted for the first choice, then they won't consider your second choice. So make sure that when you apply, the first choice is the one which you want to do most, like it's the one you want more than your second choice. Don't apply the first choice as your second or what you want to be the second choice, because if they accept you for the first choice, then they won't consider you for the second choice. The other thing is that there is no need to write the national benchmark test, which is the NBT. So it's not a prerequisite at UJ for you to write the NBT. Well, most universities want it, but the University of Johannesburg does not want you to write the national benchmark test. Can you please go to the next slide? Great news. UJ rewards you for being smart. So if you do really well, you get a reward from UJ. There are 2 types of rewards. Firstly, it's a merit bursary, and then there's an orange carpet program. So the merit bursary is given to students who have an APS score of 35 and above. With this, it pays 30% of your fees. So with me, I also received the merit bursary when I was doing my first year, and then you pay 30% of your fees. And with this one, they don't tell you that you have received a merit bursary, you just see it on your financial statement, when 30% of your fees are paid, excuse me. And then the Orange Carpet program is for top achievers in matric. You must have a minimum of 70% in all your subjects. So that's level 6 in all the subjects that you do, including LO. The benefits of this one is that you do not pay the registration fee during the registration. And you also receive 2,000 Rand voucher for academic purposes, as well as other campus benefits. So the 2,000 Rand is used maybe to buy textbooks and to buy a laptop. I don't know how you can buy a laptop for 2,000, but then yeah, they give it for academic purposes only. So they put it in a card. You don't have, like, they don't give it to you by hand. Then you use it for academic purposes. Also, the Orange Carpet program is only received by students who get an APS score of 37 and above. And then they award you maybe 50% of your fees, or 50%, 75%, or 100%. Next slide, please.
Are you able to see?
Can I please get the next slide?
Is it not there? On my side, it's there.
Okay, what I did was to include a slide for NSFAS, because this is what I had trouble with mostly with when I started at UJ. So when I did my first year, I was supposed to do my first year in 2017. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So as I was saying, I was supposed to do my first year in 2017, but then I had not done my applications correctly. So I did not go to varsity in 2017. And then in 2018, when I had to go, I registration fee next year. as NSFAS takes time to release the funds and the university works on a first time, first served basis. So even if you got admitted, even if your marks are good, even if you're great, you're a genius, if you can't pay the registration fee, they're going to give your space to someone else. So it's important that you save a fee for the registration fee, because you can't always rely on NSFAS. It pays the funds really late. So also, please, the applications for NSFAS are opening. They're usually open on the 1st of November. So make sure that you apply on time, in time. NSFAS pays all the fees. However, there are some programs which are no longer funded by NSFAS. I don't know those programs, so you should research that. Thank you so much for joining. That is all that I had. Over to you, Mapula.
Thank you, Rabelani. My phone, which is a Wi-Fi, it's running out of battery. May I ask that we take questions? Then I'll do the live demonstration of the application after questions. I'm just gonna go and fetch the charger in the car. So let's take questions for now.
Okay, now it's time for the Q&A session. So we're going to look at the questions in the chat first, and then we will ask and answer all of them. So the first question that we have is directed to the IT personnel, who is Puruso Justin Museto. So Puruso, a question came and is asking, how is IT related to machine learning?
Okay, thanks. So the concept of machine learning is you build software that learns patterns, and the technical term for that, it's found in a subject called artificial intelligence. I'll explain it with an example so that everyone can understand. So when you're traveling on the road, when you're driving on the road and there's a speed trap, and the camera flashes if you are over speed. That application, what it does, how it's able to pick up that that there's a number plate and there's a car, that is what we call machine learning. So we basically create an application that's capable of learning trends, and then what we do is that we feed it with positive images and negative images. So we'll feed it with like over 2,000 pictures of cars, of different types of cars, over 2,000 pictures of number plates, and over 2,000 pictures of just gibberish. Okay, it could be a picture of anything. So you're feeding it with positive input and negative input. And then it goes through what we call, it creates a neural network. And that network, the result of that network will bring percentages to certain images. So that when it takes a picture of that car, and it uses what we call optical character recognition on the car, on the number plate, to find out the characters. What it will do is it compares it to its neural network to say, what percentage will I get from this? If it gets over the optimum percentage, then it will say, okay, that is a car, or that is not a car. So that's an example of machine learning. You basically create programs that are meant to learn trends, and then you feed them positive and negative inputs of those trends that you want to determine, and then you build certain percentages. And then once it learns that and reaches certain percentages, then you put it into test, and then it will operate as normal. Another example is the use of the Internet of Things. So when you go into a parking lot, it will tell you there are 50 spots open, 1,000 are taken. So they have sensors. Those sensors are fed into applications, and they use machine learning to determine if it's a car or not. That's it. Thanks.
Another question directed at you is there a postgraduate diploma in IT?
There's a postgraduate diploma in technology management. It's not a technical degree or technical qualification, but it is a qualification that I've seen a lot of people who are moving from other qualifications. I've seen people moving from engineering. I've seen people moving from operations. I've seen people moving from anything. You could be moving from public relations or international relations. You want to move into technology. Usually they take a postgrad diploma in technology management. It's either that or in certain types of technical project management requirements. Other than that, there's an honors degree in management of technology or technology management as well, and honors in obviously computer science and the rest of the things. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Could you say that STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths is taking over the world?
I don't think there's anything that's taking over that run the world we live in. So with that being said, I would say yes and no. So yes, in the sense that a lot of operations moves to being technical, everything is very scientific and all that, but everything is still complementing each other in the ecosystem to work well. So you could never have just technology running the world, for example.
Okay, thank you. There's another question. I don't know if you've answered it yet. IT is not about fixing computers only.
Yes, absolutely. So when you're in IT, so what builds up any computing device is two things: the software and the hardware. The hardware is where you learn how the device itself is built and how it's fixed. And then the software part, you'd learn how everything that runs on that device is built and how it's fixed. So you can choose one of the two. In my degree, I did learn the hardware of a computer. I was not passionate about it, and so I did not take that when I obviously went into industry. I enjoyed more, and I thought there was more opportunity for growth for me personally in software. But definitely, there's hardware and there's software, but everything is still within computer science and computer engineering.
Okay, thank you so much, Puso. Okay, moving forward, we have a question that is directed to Hunadi Otleho for the culinary arts. The question is, if I'm doing a course on how to become a chef and I would like to open my own business, do I also get some sort of guidance on how to do that as well?
Yes, you do get guidance if you ask for it. So like currently my lecturer is helping his part-time student who has opened a catering business to like operate. So he's helping him to get people to volunteer to help him work. He's helping him also he is helping him, but also not, because this part-time student was a manager of the Tasha's restaurant group. So the whole of Tasha's group, he was the manager of that. So he already has knowledge, but yes, you do get assistance if you ask for it. And then also studying to become a chef, you become a member of the South African Chefs Association, and being a member helps you to get into gigs and to network, so you can know a lot of people and get guidance.
Okay, thank you for that. The next question is it's for the ATNS. Nompumelelo, you're asked to repeat the requirements needed, as the learner couldn't hear you due to network issues.
No problem. The requirements are 50% for both mathematics, pure maths, and English. You need to be 18 years or older. You need to be medically fit and a South African citizen.
Okay, thank you. I think that is it for the questions on the chat. If you guys have any other questions, you can unmute and then direct your question to whoever you want to answer the question.
Hi, Rabelane.
Hi.
I'm currently in grade 9, and we have been given time to choose our subjects. If I heard correctly, you're currently doing your LLB. What subjects would you recommend for law, and what should the AP scores be for matric?
Well, I did science, but then it's not a requirement. You can do any subject really, but then the APS for law currently is 35, if I'm not mistaken. So you need an APS score of 35 and above. You can do your maths lit, you can do general, but then you need an APS of 35. Because with LLB at the University of Johannesburg, they choose students with the highest APS. So even if you meet the requirements, if there's a candidate who got higher marks than you, they're going to choose her. So my advice is you do really work well on your metric, even though you know that you're just going to do, the requirements are low, you should do really well.
Okay, I would also like to know, what are the types of careers in LLB law?
Can you please repeat that?
What are the types of careers in LLB law?
The different types, because you can choose which kind of lawyer you want to be, which kind of law you want to major into. You can be a divorce lawyer, commercial law, contract law. There are very different types of careers, but then for LLB, on your first year, you're going to do the subjects that they tell you to do, and then you only choose your majors from third year. So maybe after your second year, you'll decide which one you want to major into, and then you start majoring from the third year.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Lerato.
Hello, Lerato.
And I'm in grade 12, and I want to ask, other than teaching, what other career can I do?
It depends. Which subjects do you do now?
I do tourism, history, and business, maths, lit, English, LO.
Then I don't know which career are you passionate in. I think there are different careers that you can choose from, also from the ones which have been spoken here. I think you can choose from them. Can anyone help me with this question?
You said you're Lerato?
Yes.
Hi, Lerato. I think, yeah, Rabelani is correct. I think with the subject that you're doing, just what do you like? If maybe you've already come across that. There are other different, except besides engineering, medical careers or humanities, there are other ones like Dr. has presented on the culinary. And on that one, I think she said there are no specific subject that you need to do. I think this yeah, I think I can just yes.
She just wrote on the chat that you can choose a career in hospitality if you like tourism.
Yes. Yes. So, and in is either even, I think, okay, maybe not yet 18 years, but in the airspace, they've got this, what do they call them? No, you can assist. The air hostess, you can be an air hostess, you can do the travel and tourism, you can do the culinary. So I think things like that.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
Can I ask my question?
Yes.
Okay. I am in grade 12 as well, and I just submitted my application to UJ, but I didn't see the section for uploading documents. So I wanted to find out if I could send them to, I don't know, someone via email,
Yes, there's
and
an
if my
email.
application will still
There's an
be like looked at.
Yes, there's an email address that is provided. I think when I do the live demonstration of application, there is an email address that is provided where you can send your documents that are required.
Okay, thank you.
We have another question for IT. It says, are there IT or computer science programs that will allow you to study overseas after high school? I think this is directed to Kuruso.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that I'm sorry. I just also I think there was the previous student that asked a question. I think if you're unsure, the most important thing is to be sure when you're in matric, and if you're not, it's a very important decision making what you need to study. And I would suggest if you're not and you're very nervous about it, that you take a gap year, because there's a lot of money that goes into your studies. And if you end up not being able to complete that, it affects your career reputation on that. So it's important that you're sure. Let me move on to the question that was asked. Yes, you can study overseas. However, just take into account that okay, so when you want to study overseas, there's something that speaks to what they have in different countries. That speaks to what we call critical skills. So they have a critical skills list that they maintain, right, year by year from corporates. And what you would do is that you definitely apply. And number one, it's important that when you're in matric, you find out what the requirement will be, because previously in the previous curriculum before you started, I think it's with the curriculum you have in high school, is you would have to do additional what they call additional maths. So you might have to complete that as a requirement. But also remember, studying overseas today in the season we're in might not necessarily mean that you move overseas. Okay, because they're offering online qualifications, mostly because of the fact that it will depend on whether they are willing to take the risk of obviously bringing you over. But there's definitely opportunities. Please check out. There's only one company that I definitely know about because I worked for them, and they're not just, although they're a technology company that you could study, there's quite a lot of things that you could study. Look at ncr.com slash I can't remember what it is. I'll find it now on my laptop, and maybe I can paste it on the chat. But ncr.com, and find out finding scholarships from them. They do offer scholarships globally, as long as that country has their customers, and they definitely have customers in South Africa. So yeah, thanks.
Just to add on what Pulusa said when he started answering the question, for the student who's not sure, another important thing is sometimes when you study something that you're not sure or something that you don't love, you can get a bursary and then maybe do your first year, and maybe somewhere on your second year you decide, no, I don't like this. The bursaries that you get, they come with terms and conditions. So those bursaries, some of the terms and conditions is that once you complete your studies, you need to work for them for a certain period. And if you decide to drop out somewhere in the middle, you will have to pay them back actually in money, instead of, course they wanted payback in terms of you working for them. But if you just to drop out and see, no, this is not what I want, you might be financially liable to them. So you might need to pay them with money. So Pulusa is right, you need to be sure what you want to do. So it is advisable, if you are really not sure, it's you can just take a gap year and decide, or maybe if you might even have to improve your marks, you can try to do that. So that is very important. Balesa, I saw your hand has been up, so you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. This question is for Rabelane again. I just want to ask if you can tell me how LLB and BCom law differs.
LLB is an all-rounder for law, while BCom is more of commerce, I think. I'm not sure. But then BCom law is different from LLB because for BCom law, you usually have modules which got something to do with accounting, while LLB has everything to do with law. So with BCom law,
I've got the UJ, yeah, I've got the UJ page open with those differences actually here.
Yeah, can you please do the demonstration?
Okay, just okay, continue. I'll
Oh, as I was saying, LLB is an all-rounder name. So if you want to do an LLB, your course will be for 4 years. And then for BCom law, you'll have to do it for 5 years. You have to first get your BCom and then do your LLB. So it's 5 years, while law LLB is 4 years. And then I think the other differences, Mapula will tell you when she demonstrates.
Okay. I'll just quickly read through this is the difference between the BA law, the BCom law, and the LLB degree. They say the BA law, the purpose of a BA law degree is to allow the student to acquire knowledge of the South African legal system, private law, constitutional law, and customary law. In addition to this, the student will be able to take courses in aspect of the arts and social sciences. Furthermore, the student will be exposed to languages and language structure. So that's the BA law. Then the BCom law, they say the purpose of a BCom law degree is to allow the student to acquire knowledge of the South African legal system, private law, business enterprises law, labor law, and customary law. In addition to this, the student will be able to take courses in aspect of economic and management sciences. Then lastly, the LLB, the purpose of LLB degree are to equip the student with a reflective understanding of the law so as to enable the student to apply the law in the competent and effective provision of legal services to community. I don't know if, yeah, I'm hoping that will make sense to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mapule and Rabulane.
Okay, you're welcome. If there aren't any further questions, Mapule, you can start with the demonstration.
There are questions in the chat. I think
it's one question.
With the answer
from Nobanti.
Nobantu.
From Nobanti is the last one. Yeah, she's asking which subjects can you recommend to a learner who is in grade 9 in terms of careers of the 21st century. So I don't know whom the question is directed at, but anyone who thinks they can answer can answer. Especially because the 21st century.
Yeah, let's sign up.
Yes, hi. I'm going to ask it back to the person that asked. You see, the problem of the problem today that we will have is that we need to ask ourselves: when I'm asking what subjects for the 21st century, is this for me, or it's for me to at least have a living? Okay, because we don't want to end up. Personally, I don't want to end up misleading anyone out of their purpose, and that comes with sort of, trying to find out where you find your comfort and all that in terms of career. So number one, you can do anything that has been presented today here, and you will make it in life. And the reason that will push that is the passion that you will have, and that comes from within. In terms of subjects, I think if the person had asked to be in a good career, if I love 1, 2, 3, what should I do? So it needs to come from you, I would say. So if a person says, I've realized that in my village or township, I'm helping a lot of people with computer questions, and I fix their computers, or I install Windows for them, or whatever, then I could say, oh, okay, then take these subjects, because I can tell that there's something that can be sort of groomed in you. You understand? Because then you might end up taking math and science, and then you find that they're really horrible, and you won't be able to change back at some point in your life, or it will have been some form of loss. I think there's no actual answer to that. The important thing is you are already, when you're in grade 9, for example, you are already old enough to find exactly what makes you happy. So you need to make sure that you start building that already, because you want to make sure that beyond you just making a living, which is really important in the country today, you need to make sure that you're happy as well. You want to wake up in the morning and go to work. That's my answer. Sorry. Thanks.
Okay, Puluso, there's another question while you're still there. They say besides IT and physics, what other subject would you wait, okay. What other subject would you suggest to take for computer sciences?
Okay, so with computer science, it depends where you're going. If you're going to start the study actual computer science, BSc computer science, you definitely need maths and science. If you're going to study BSc IT, if you're going to study BIT, if you're going to study, you know, something in software development, you need maths and English, not necessarily maths and science. You will definitely, I don't think you will be able to do anything in software development or computer science without mathematics. I think you can do it with maths lit, but it will need to be 10% above the requirement for maths. So if maths says 60%, then you would need to have 70% for maths lit, something like this. That's how they would ideally structure it. But it's mainly, and you should know that when you study computer science, it's not a lot of, there's books, yes, but it's mainly understanding the logic of programming and understanding programming languages. And that's pretty much it. So it's, to answer the question, it's mainly math and English, but if you're going to do computer science itself, then you need math and science and English. Thanks.
Thank you, Puluso. Just to add on the question before that about what to study or what subjects. I think the other thing, the reason we are having this career expos is actually to try and help you guys. So if you are in grade 9, we're still gonna have more of these sessions. So the plan is to have at least twice a year. So if you keep on attending the sessions that we have, so we try to invite different people or present on different careers. So maybe today you might find that, okay, whatever that we presented today is not something that you're interested in. And then come next year, March or April, when we have the next session, there might be someone that maybe they might present on something that you are interested in. So if you are still in grade 9, at least you can, just keep on attending things like this, or keep on reading about different career path. Then maybe you might find something that you are interested in or something that you love. So that's my advice. I think somewhere on the, maybe I'll see it because when I tried to go through the UG application, there was somewhere where they've written that under this faculty or career, the career, career path, where you've got, they just mentioned the main subjects where you need math and science, or you miss this and that. So you can just have an idea. If I bump into that page, I'll just show it that you need, generally you might need math and science, or you might need math and whatever. So just to get with those things like that, then you can see, okay, maybe I do need maths in general to do any career. I'm just giving an example. Maybe that's not true. So that's my advice. And Tiny is saying 100% Pulu. So it is important to know what makes you happy. So so that's that. There was another question. I think it was directed to ATNS. Let me just go back. They say, are you from Tandi? Are you able to apply for ATNS even though you don't attend at the technical high school? No, Bumelela, are you still there? Do we still have Nombumelela on the line? Okay. Puluso, is your hand up now or is it the old one?
Yes, indeed. You
I actually
are
wanted,
pure mathematics
okay.
and English. So
okay, continue, Nombumelelo. Nombumelelo. You can continue.
Hi, sorry, did you get that?
No.
Oh, sorry about that. To respond to that question, you do not have to attend a technical high school in order to apply. The basic academic requirements is just a 50% average for your mathematics and your English marks. So science and all other subjects, they're good, but they're not compulsory for us.
Thank you. Puluso?
Yes, I just wanted to say I was trying to type it actually. So to everyone, this is just to everyone that hasn't decided and they are interested in computer science, so or IT. Please just try and research a programming language. I'll type out just one programming language that is very, very easy to learn. Because that might stimulate what you want at a sort of younger age before you get to matric, or even if you're in matric and you're unsure whether computer science is what you need to try, go and have a look at it. The programming language is very, very simple, and you could be able to find some YouTube videos around that. So I'll try and paste it on the chat so that it can help you decide. Thanks.
Okay, there's another one for you. They say, do I need physical science to study software engineering? You might have answered though.
No, for software engineering, it's just maths and English. Yes.
Thank you, Puluso. Any more questions?
Mapula, I see a question on the chat. She's asking, I've decided to take physics, life sciences, and drama to up my APS score. Are those subjects okay for long? So, Balisa, I'm holding the prospectus for next year for LLB. So the APS that is needed is 31 with mathematics or 32 with mathematics literacy. The points you need for English are level 5, and then for an additional language is level 4. For mathematics, it's level 3, and then for mathematical literacy, it's level 4. So with LLB or law in general, they don't look at like all the subjects like you're doing physics or life sciences. The most important subject they look at are English, maths, and maths literacy. So they're okay if you decide to do those. They're okay for law. I hope I've answered your question.
Okay, any more questions? So is your old hand or is it the new hand up?
It's an old hand. Let me put it down. Sorry.
Okay. Any other question? Let's see, there's something coming in. Oh, okay. So Puluso, that's the ATNS. They've shared, Nompumela has shared the link to the ATNS bursaries. So you can check it on the inbox. It's a YouTube link, I think. And someone was asking if we have any classes for math and science. We do, Grow in Math does offer extra lessons for math and science for any grade, but at a cost. So the numbers are provided in the chat. So if you're interested in that, you can just get in contact with us. Okay, is there any other question before I go into the UJ to just demonstrate the live application form for those who are not familiar yet with it?
Is any window class linked to IT in faculty?
Come again?
Is any window class linked to the IT faculty?
Okay, come again, because I'm hearing the first part. I'm not hearing, but you say, is it something linked to IT faculty? Come again, please.
Windows classes.
Windows classes.
Yes.
Puluso?
I'm not sure what you mean by Windows classes or window classes. I'm not so sure. Sorry. What is that?
Maybe give an example.
Similar to Microsoft.
Oh, you're saying Windows. So you're in the IT faculty. Ah, okay. Learning. If the question is regarding whether learning Windows is part of the IT faculty, it is, but we don't learn Windows as such. It might be part of it. There's different other. They're called operating systems. So you will have Windows, you have Linux, you have what they use on the MacBook as well, which is Mac OS. So you might learn one of all of these or all of them, depending on where you study and all of that. So you will learn how the operating system is built, how Windows is built, but then you will also learn, so what I pasted on the chat, it's a programming language called C#. It's also, it's owned by, or it was created by Microsoft, which also created Windows. It runs on Windows, and all the applications that ideally would be created on C#, not all of them, but most of them mainly or predominantly are running on Windows. So that's basically what it is. But you would learn it inside that faculty, definitely. Thank you.
Kandoletu?
I have a question pertaining to IT, specifically the coding languages or programming languages. I wanted to ask, does it matter which one you do in school?
No, and I'll tell you why. So here's an example. In Betty and in Venda, there's words that are similar. There's certain sentence structures that are similar, but what's different is probably accent and all that. So when you're learning a programming language, what they will teach you is the fundamental logic of programming. And that applies with all programming languages. Like, for example, I pasted C# as a programming language. There's C++, there's C, there's Java, there's Python, there's all those other programming languages. All of them apply the same rules. It's just a different language. It's in the same thing that you have, grammar that's specific, you've got, but everything has the same logic. So you just learn. I would say pick the simplest one that you can learn so that you get the logic, and then you can learn the rest. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? There's something in the box. Okay. Okay. If there is no other question, I'll just quickly go to the UJ website and just do a quick, it won't be the whole application because I will be using my details and I won't go far with them. So unless if I had someone assisting someone with application. So I'm just gonna basically show you guys where to get the application, where to go when you apply online. So if you just go to a UJ website, this is what, let me just minimize this. This is the page that you're gonna find. So it shows different things here. If you still wanna research, those are the student fees. It shows online courses, but we're not interested in that at the moment. So for undergrad, since you will be going there for the first time. So if you go, you put your cursor on study at UJ. You see under that you've got undergraduate, you've got postgraduate. So if you are still in matric, I assume people that we are talking about talking to here, they will be undergraduate. Undergraduate is people that have not graduated. So you're working towards to graduate. So it will be, you go to undergraduate. Then this is what you get when you get to undergraduates. You see, it gives you a new application option. It gives you a returning or internal applicant. So you are a new applicant, unless if maybe you have tried last year and they've already given you a student number, then you're gonna have to go to the returning applicant. But we will go to the new applicant as matriculants. So let's click there and see. Then this is what it gives you. You need to answer here. They're asking you, do you have a student number? So we don't have. Then it's asking you, are you returning to finalize an incomplete application? Depending if you've already started, but you did not finish your application process, then either you're gonna say yes. If you are just starting for the first time, then we're just gonna say no. We are not returning, we are here for the first time. So there are some policies that you need to go through. So this is the new policy that it's been implemented in the country. So you need to accept that policy. If you do not accept, then you will not be able to go through with your application. So you just need to read through that policy. It's about the sharing of data. So then you say next. Then it's gonna bring you to where you need to fill in your details. So here they ask you, are you a South African citizen? You're gonna say yes. You put your gender, you put your ID number. I'm just gonna put mine for now, but it might not go through because I'm not a new student with UG. I've been there for so many years. So then the gender, you see, it's not allowing me. So let's go back. So I won't be able to go far with it, but this is where you get your application, unless if I had someone's ID number, that then we were gonna be able to do the demonstration, maybe at least a further. But this is where you get this. And then there is an email address. Let me just go back and see where I have seen it, the option somewhere where, okay, how am I gonna come out of here? Let's do this. Okay, just bear with me. Let me just open it again because I couldn't go back now to that. Where is it now? Okay. Okay. So let me just see. Yeah. So here, if you read here where you're applying at UJ, the undergraduate applicant, some of this information Ravilan might have already covered. So it opened on the 1st of April, is closing on the 30th of September. And you can click here for apply here. That's the other shortcut. And then they say, should you encounter difficulties when attempting to submit your application form, kindly send an email to tepang@uj.ac.za. So if maybe for some reason you are having problems with applying online, so you should send an email to this email address. Then there is somewhere, where did I see that email? This is not applicable for you guys, as is for international students. And let's see what is here. Okay. Okay. The student, the learner who had a problem, who submitted application and needs to send through the email, the documents, I will just check the email address, check where I can find that, so that you can send that email address. But I can't go far with the live demonstration because my ID number is already in the system. So I can't, I wouldn't be doing much justice to the demonstration because the demonstration is supposed to be for the undergrad. Otherwise, I will have to go here for a returning student. Unless if someone is willing to give me their ID number, then we can demonstrate with it. But this is where you do your applications. Okay, so is there a question in the inbox? Please share the Zoom chat on the Facebook page so that those streaming, they can get all these great resources. Okay. All right, we'll try to get the information from the Zoom chat. Hopefully we can just extract it and share it. Okay. Are there any the information I saw? Just the other important thing when you apply, I think they provide you with options whether you want to apply for residence. It is important for you to apply for residence because this is a challenge. You apply and you don't apply for residence, and then when you get to the university, you don't know where to stay. You don't have a place to stay. Sometimes you even have a bursary, but then the bursary they need to pay a certain a company for accommodation, but you find yourself when you get there, you didn't apply for university accommodation. Now you struggle with that. And the advantage, the university accommodation most of the time is within the campus, which is much safer than when you are staying outside. And also, even if it's outside the campus, normally the universities will provide you with transport. So I think that is also another important thing. So, and also the other thing is just make sure, so it's accommodation, also tick the option for NSFAS. So that if you don't get a bursary, at least you still have an option of getting a NSFAS. So you must do those things at the same time when you're submitting your application. So don't just put in just application to be admitted at the university. So make sure that you apply for all those other important things. Okay, so Pulusa sent a message. I'll take your lead. If there's a need for basic programming lesson needed, you can let me know. Okay. So Pulusa is offering, if there's anyone who needs to learn about basic programming, we can, yeah, you guys, you can get in touch. We can communicate with him also. Rabelani, anything that I'm missing out? Because I can't go through with the live demonstration without a ID number besides mine.
No, I think you've said everything. I just sent the email address which we're looking for on the chat for that student who wasn't able to send her documents.
Okay, yeah, and then here's they say important information before you apply. There's a free career advice. So if you go to the UJ website, you can get all that information. And then there's an APS calculator and checklist. Yeah, so this is the important part. So checklist, before you apply, you need to have a valid email address. They say you need to have a Gmail or a Yahoo mail account. So I don't know if you have a webmail, if you might have a problem or what, because they're being specific here. They're saying Gmail or Yahoo. And then have the requirements for the study choices been met. So someone mentioned this. So I think it was Rabelani, don't just apply even when you don't qualify. That will disadvantage you, because if you apply and you don't meet the requirements, the university will automatically decline you. And then, yeah, so if you don't meet the requirements now, rather just wait and just work hard so that your final year results are better. Then you can either apply for next year, second semester, or take a gap year, like Puluso suggested, you take a gap year and apply for the other year. So do not rush into applying, but it is important for you to apply. If you meet the requirements, it's very important for you to apply, because nowadays universities, they no longer allow the walk-ins, because walk-ins are not safe. And even now with the COVID, those will totally be out. So it's important that you apply, but do not just apply if you don't qualify, because they will automatically decline you. So that is important. Then let me see what else was here. So if you want to see the requirements for all the other career options that we did not cover today, you can also, if you see here, they will be shown here, but I won't go through that. So you can just go through, you can just open this, then go through those at your own time. Then document upload, okay, what's this? Certified and individually scanned documents if completed grade 12. So you need to certify your your scanned document. And when you scan your when you scan your documents, you need to scan them one by one. Don't let them scan them once and you find that you've got a one big folder having page 1, 2, 3, and 4. They want them scanned one. So that's important. Then document upload requirements when applying online. This is not applicable for people that are currently in grade 12. So all documents must be certified. Ensure that the scan file is its maximum of 512. All documents scanned are in any of the following types. So it must be TIFF or PDF or JPEG or GIF. And then each document must be scanned and uploaded as a separate attachment. So that is important. Alternatively, documents can be emailed to uj@docs@listrv.uj.ac.za. So here is that email address. I'll try to copy it and put it in the chat. So this is where you must send in your supporting documents. So this is the email address, and so you email them there with the provisional reference number or the student number. So when you email it, you must, in the subject of the email, put your student number or your reference number that they've given to you when you've applied. So I will just paste this in the chat so you can see it there. Okay, so that is that part. Let me just see what else is here. Okay. So new applicant, I think this information Rabelani has covered it. Yeah, okay. And applying online is for free, but if you want to apply using a paper, you need 200 Rand. So it's better. We all have smartphones these days, so you can just apply using your phone, or yeah, then you email the documents. If attaching or you don't see that attaching part, here there's an email address provided for you to send the documents. So I think that's about it. Sorry, any questions? I see there were some chats, there were some messages in the chat. Rabelani, are there any questions there?
Yes, there's a student that asking, if I try to apply and I haven't finished applying due to network problem, what do I do to continue with my application?
It's okay. Let's just go back quickly. Is there that option? So you just go back to where you are applying, study at UJ, then undergraduate, and then a new applicant. You are still new applicant because you did not finish. Then if you don't have a student number as yet, so you're gonna say no. Are you returning to finalize an incomplete application? So that is what you're gonna say yes to, because you did apply but you did not finish. So you need to say yes there. Then you're gonna enter your ID number and then you resume with your application. Then you carry on from there. So the other important thing, when you're filling in the information, I'm sure there must be a save button. So make sure every time you save, so that if ever you get cut out for some reason, when you come back, you don't have to start from scratch. So this is where you go. Okay. Any other question? Is there another question in the chat, Rabelani?
No, there are no other questions. I think everything is done.
I'm seeing request information regarding psychology.
I don't know.
And then, oh, okay, this one they were asking after demonstrate. Okay, they answered them. After demonstrates, are you officially done with the Career Expo? Yes, this is the end of it. Okay, I think that's that. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I will hand over to you, Rabelani.
Okay, thank you so much for everyone that attended this Career Expo. I hope you all benefited from it. Thank you so much for our guests who helped with the presentations. And I hope that you guys really benefited and got informed. I also got informed of some of the things which I did not know. We will also host another Career Expo sometime next year, and you can also join because you can see that these sessions are quite important. For now, I'll talk about EdSub-SA. So EdSub-SA is a nonprofit organization that understands the role of the community in one's success. We are dedicated in assisting disadvantaged students in their journey to success. So what we do is offer career guidance and support and ensure that no student is left out because of being disadvantaged in any way. So if you are in need of any help, you can go onto our website. I think it was posted on the chat, and then you can get all the guidance you need. My partner here, Mapula, is also part of Rome Met, and I think she will say more about that. And then we will be concluding this session. Thank you so much again for attending. Love you all.
Thank you, Rabelani. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our guest speakers. Thank you. I know some people, when we approach them, some of them, they ask us how much are we paying them. We are just trying to do this as a voluntary initiative to try and assist our learners. As you can hear from some of our learners, they are clueless, or they've got a little knowledge on what is happening out there and what is going to happen, what's supposed to happen after matric. So yeah, if we come back to you next time when we invite you, please do not, please just welcome us. We are just trying, we are not making money out of this. We are just trying to help our sisters and brothers, because some of us, we ended up doing careers because I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, and how I ended there, I do not know, because all I knew was I knew maths. And at that time, when you knew maths, the career that was suitable for you was engineering. And when I got a bursary with Dinel. Like, remember the speaker that spoke about engineering, we got the same bursary and we went to the same university. So I got that bursary, and then the bursary was offering electrical, mechanical, aeronautical. And when I checked, I was like, okay, no, I'll go with mechanical. So because back then we didn't have chances like this where people will come and present to us what is happening on different careers. What do people do there? And you can see how they work, and you'll be able to see if you like it or not. So the reason we are doing this, we don't want you guys to end up like us, to go through the way we did our career, the way we went through our careers. Because some of us, we just went there, we were just blind. You just went there, you knew maths, you got there, you passed the engineering degree. And when you start working, you realize, no, man, this is not what I want. And for me, what I am passionate about is actually teaching, and it's specifically teaching maths. So that's why you will see on the Career Expo, there's Grow in Maths and Education Support SA. So Grow in Maths is my company. I'm trying to actually follow my passion, or even call it a calling. So that's what I'm trying to do, to actually follow what I do love. While in the meantime, I'm still hanging on to my job, because you still need to live after all. But what we're encouraging you guys is for you guys to do something that you love, to change the narrative of the way we saw things back then. So I have a company called Grow in Maths. I provide extra lessons for maths and science for any high school learner, or even a primary, but mostly the people that I get is for high school. So that's what I do. And you can catch us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, which is Grow in Maths. You can find us there. We were live on this program actually on the Facebook page today. So if you are interested in our services, you are welcome to get in touch with us. My numbers I've provided on the chat. So yeah, and thank you everyone for sharing the invitation. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for parents, uncles and aunts for allowing the children to be able to attend today. That means a lot to us. And even when we come back next time, please just support us or support the kids, because we are just trying to do it for the